Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fantastic episode of The Left Wing. I am TJ Whitehead, powers taken, not given, joined as always by the long-awaited 12th Imam, John Cooper Paz of Counterpoint Politics. How are you doing today, my friend? And are you happy to see Sharia law being brought to the greatest city in the world?
Absolutely love Sharia law. It's my favorite kind of law. Actually, second favorite kind of law after maritime law. No, this has been just a wonderful week, TJ. Like everything is coming up good, guys. And I want. I know everyone's like excited about Zoran winning. I just want everyone to think back to when you first heard of Zoran, because like for us, he's been in our lives for a while. But I remember when I was first learning of Zoran, when he was picking up momentum in the primaries, being like, "Damn, if this guy wins, that's a huge sign of things to come." That would give me real hope for the first time in a long time. This is back in like I think the primaries were in June. This is probably back in like March when he was really starting to gain momentum. And you know we've been a couple months into Trump's presidency, and everything just felt bleak and horrific. And I remember specifically thinking to myself, "Damn, if only that guy could win," as if it was a pipe dream. And now we're fucking here. And it felt inevitable at this point. But damn, how many times have we seen Lucy tee up that football and just to have it ripped away from us? And this time it didn't happen. We kicked that goddamn football, and a democratic motherfucking socialist is the mayor of the financial capital of the world. That's something, DJ. I know we like to be realistic here, but it's a time to be excited.
Yeah, it's certainly not a time to dismiss excitement. My excitement's a little more reserved for Zoran in a lot of ways, but I'll take anything I can get. I'll take absolutely anything. Like things have been really bad. We're gonna get into that a little bit later with the jobs reports that it came out in October and how things are just collapsing all around us. But giving us and like with Zoran, I don't know, he's such a likable person, which I think plays a lot more into this than anything else, honestly, that a lot of politicians seem like automatons. They seem like people grown in labs for a specific job and they don't relate. Like I say what you want about Donald Trump, but the fact that he doesn't shy away from his I hate to say this word, but humanity. That Trump, yeah, you have no question that Trump. Oh yeah, that's a human being. That is not a machine right there. He feels his emotions, and he doesn't check them or counter them or try to process them. He just blurts them out. It's like, oh, he just says what he feels like a toddler. But people find that oddly refreshing when people are just used to these scripted animatronic politicians. So yeah, I do have a lot of confidence that a lot of more optimism than I did say 48 hours or 72 hours ago.
And I think I want to emphasize the point you just made there. It's not the first time we've made it on this show that the big appeal of Trump is that he talks as if it's him actually speaking. And I think that is one of the biggest refrains I hear when I talk to Trump voters in real life.
Yeah.
Not the Trump voters online necessarily, but when I talk to people who I know voted for Trump at any point in the last three elections, whether it was all three, whether it was one of them, almost every single one of them say, well, at least I know Donald Trump believes what he's saying. At least I know that Donald Trump, when he's speaking, it's him speaking. Whereas with the Democrats, with Joe Biden, it never sounded like a real person speaking. And that's the truth. Like, that is the gosh darn truth about why Trump appeals to so many Americans when so many politicians don't. Why the Republican Party and its policies don't necessarily poll well or perform well in elections unless Trump is on the ticket. And Zoran tapped into that. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, Zoran still does politics speak a lot. He does it pretty damn well. But he often comes across like a real human being. People are like, oh, will his policies, will this type of thing work in other parts of the country, national elections? I don't give a shit. Policy doesn't matter. I'm sick and tired
Look,
of pundits talking like policies fucking matter. They don't. I've never been more convinced that policies have 0% to do with politics when it comes to elections.
John, the worst part about doing this job, like the worst part about being like commenting on political stuff, is over the last few years, really, this lesson was taught to me at least 10 years ago, maybe as far back as 15 or 20 years ago, but I refuse to accept it. This year and maybe last year, I've kind of, just like, okay, this is just reality. That it's not a joke when people say politics is a popularity contest. It's exactly what it is. The whole thing about, is this politician someone you want to drink a beer with? Will that get your vote? Yeah, it really will. And this is like one of the things I am a little nervous about being someone on the left is that I think that all the think pieces by the the Democratic intelligentsia saying that, wow, we should really warn people that just because Mamdani won, that doesn't mean that far left progressive policies are your ticket to win. I agree. I agree. I don't think that's it at all. I think that if Mamdani had ran a more mainstream candidacy without all of his bright ideas or new free buses or getting rid of the regulations for street vendors and stuff like that, stuff that people could really relate with, I think that just the presence of his personality works. And I actually looked this up today because this is how this works with Trump, but that Trump just appeals to people in some way on a more base level. 206 counties went for Obama in 2008 and Obama in 2012 and then flipped to Trump in 2020. I do not believe 206 entire counties. I don't believe for a second that the people in those 200 counties had some sort of political reawakening over those 8 years, that all of a sudden they found out they were racist or they found out that they were, protectionist bigots and really hated Muslims. No, that wasn't it. It's like, oh, there's a cool rock star guy in Obama, I'll vote for him. Oh, here's the new cool rock star guy as Trump, I'll vote for him. That's the lesson. It's a sad lesson to learn because I expected more out of the American people, but really how you present yourself and how you communicate your message means a hell of a lot more than what your message actually is.
Yeah, and with Mamdani specifically, I disagree that he would have been successful if he didn't have those policies. Not disagreeing with anything else you said, but just because those policies are what makes him him. And I think that is what so many politicians lose. They get lost in the sauce of looking at all of the reports and the focus groups and the surveys and the studies and trying to mold themselves into the person that voters want to vote for. But voters want to vote for you. They want to vote for someone they can believe in. And someone who I feel like is selling me is never going to be someone that I'm inspired by. It's just not how human psychology works. We want someone to stand up for what they believe in. Am I particularly excited about all of Zorhan's policies? I think some of them might not work. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm very, for example, skeptical of rent control. But you know what? He fucking believes that it's going to work. And gosh darn it, I want someone who believes in the policies that they want to implement. That's what Americans really want. They want someone who's unafraid to be themselves and stands for what they believe in. If Pete Buttigieg was a little bit less of an establishment weasel but that's actually what his beliefs are. He actually is just a moderate and he stood by them. I'm fine with that. Am I going to personally vote for him in the primary? No, but I'm going to feel good about him going into a general. Hell yeah. Whereas Kamala, for example, I don't know what she fucking believes, TJ. I couldn't tell you what she believes in. I couldn't tell you what she cares about because it just feels like she's trying to sell me some version of her that she thinks I'll like, and nobody likes that.
Well, with Mamdani, you were saying that you don't know if it would have worked if he ran a more mainstream campaign because the progressive policies are what separates him from the pack. It's part of his core identity. It's what makes him him, you said. And yeah, that's true. I can't deny that. But I mean, we really don't know. I mean, of course, it's a tautological statement. Life only works one way. But if he had been a more centrist candidate, because that happens all the time, centrist candidates put on a good personality and have pretty bland policies, and they go through, massive success. We can't say. But if you're going to take, and once again, this is not something I'm glad to say, but if you're going to take one lesson from this, it's to be a relatable person. Be someone who can present your message without sounding arrogant, condescending, over intellectualized, or just meet people at basic stuff. Or one thing that we always say, co-opt Republican messaging. And he did this really well with the attacking the abundance of regulations for small businesses in New York. That is right up Republicans' alley. Say, listen, I remember he was on Andrew Schultz's show. I think I saw it on, and he said that regulations are fine. I think regulations can be a good thing. But if I can't explain to someone why a regulation exists, I don't think we should have it. And he brought up the fact that if you want to sell a dessert in New York City, you have to pay $25 to the state, like as a flat fee. Just that, like, it's not a certification, it's nothing. It's just a fee you pay because you sell desserts. Or barbers. I didn't even know this, but there's this litany of courses and trainings that barbers have to continuously go to. So why? Like, they're barbers. Like, get them certified, get them trained, get them licensed. They're good. You don't need to go through 10 hours a year, or to go through in-person seminars just to cut hair. And that stuff works. That's what we should really go with.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Democrats really do need to push more deregulation. It's one of the reasons I love, and it's funny you bring it up as a Zoran thing, because that's an abundance thing. And like in political discourse, the abundance guys, the Ezra Kleins of the world, are opposed to the democratic socialists, the Zorans of the world, but they are all pushing towards the same thing. And it's that, yeah, guys, we do have some policies, some regulations that are done. They're done. People are fed up with them, and for good reason. Like TJ just said, why the fuck do barbers need to get regularly certified? Like, they're not surgeons. No one's dying on the barber there, guys. Like, in the worst case scenario, you get a bad haircut. We need to make sure you guys can do this safely and well, and then we should be good. If they suck that badly, they're not going to be in business long. The free hand of the market will take care of that one, because there's 18 barbers in walking distance of me. Like, it'll be okay. And those are the kind of things that make people upset. That doesn't make sense in New York City, for example, that it takes so fucking long to build anything. I saw a building, just kind of a standard building. It took longer to pass through like all of the government reviews to get approved to be built than it took to build the entire Empire State Building. And it's just like, okay, I am a person who agrees that we do need a lot of regulations, but that's too much. And I can't tell you what the exact right answer is, but I can tell you we can afford to lean towards, let's deregulate a little, make people happy, and look for the stupid fucking things we're doing to like throw people bones and make their lives tangibly better.
Yeah, this is I don't know why Democrats don't say this more, because if you talk to them dependent on policy, it always ends up here, but they're really poor communicated, because I always try to say the exact same thing. The Empire State Building is a good example of this. I was in a unit in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and we were constructing a new parking lot for the soldiers in that battalion. And it was 6 months, and they just every day it seemed like nothing was moving. There was like groundbreaking here and there, but I don't know. I've never built a parking lot before, so I maybe I can't criticize, but it took forever. It didn't seem like this take this long to level out some ground, lay down some pavement, and spray paint it. I just don't think it would take that long. And I looked up how long it took to build the Empire State Building. 1 year, John. 1 year. It took 1 year to build the Empire State Building. And I said, okay, if they could build the Empire State Building in the 30s in 12 months, you can build a parking lot in 6 months.
Technology.
Exactly.
We should be able to build an Empire State Building once a month. Like if that's the case.
And I get it that there were a lot of safety issues in the Empire State Building that we tried. Oh, actually, someone just commented there. 5 guys died. I was right about to say that, actually. Yeah,
5 guys died in the Empire State Building. Yes, we should avoid that shit.
So
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was right about to say that. Yeah, I get why we don't build skyscrapers in 1 year anymore. That we're not going to let people die in such high numbers when you're building something like that. But
A condo?
parking lot,
Condo
the parking lot did not have that danger assessment. Okay, I'm pretty sure they could have got that parking lot done in time. But my Mamdani brought this up too with the regulate. He said, I don't know what he was talking about, but it was some construction thing that was being put together, and he said that they spent more time in the planning and in the consultants and in the red tape than it actually took to build it, and spent more money on the consulting part than it actually took for the labor and everything. He says this is ridiculous. There's a lot simpler ways to do this. I think this is a way that, I don't know, the right and the left, to whatever extent that has any meaning these days, can come together and say, yeah, I actually do want government efficiency, which is what we've always said. It was funny, everything that Mamdani says, you can kind of relate to a lot of things Republicans want, but they don't really want it. When it comes down to it.
And we're going to get into Mamdani. We're going to get into more of the questions about just the general, not just blue wave. It was a blue bombshell domination on Tuesday, and we're going to get into that. We also want to definitely pay our respects to a dear old friend that died this week, and we'll be doing that later. But we are doing Q&A show today, so make sure to drop your questions in the comments as we're live on YouTube. Colby, our good friend Colby, brought up a really good question here. He said, I'll ask this early because it's off topic. Can we get a left-wing comic book review segment for an episode? I would personally pay for you both for your copies to review Absolute Batman Annual #1. TJ, have you seen anything from the Absolute Batman comic book?
Oh boy, John, like I saw that comment and I haven't read any of the Absolute Batman stuff, but for those of you wondering what Colby is talking about, Absolute Batman looks like this. This is, I've never read a single issue of this comic book, but I have seen a lot of the art that has been released and posted. And in this universe, Batman is like 7 feet tall and 400 pounds and not rich, if I remember correctly.
Yep,
which
not
is
rich.
that's odd. That's kind of a canon thing with Batman. But what I like more than Absolute Batman are the villains. Like seeing all the grotesque versions of the Batman Rogues Gallery has been pretty fun. Don't know if the comic's any good, but yeah, I'd be willing to check it out because that'd be a fun thing to go over.
Yeah, he has I don't know if you saw the images of who he's fighting in this comic, but his enemy is the Klan and ICE and everyone, and it is wonderful. I totally agree with you. Like, as soon as I saw images, I haven't read a comic book probably since I was a teenager. And even then, I wasn't a big comic book guy. But I've legitimately been interested in buying this comic book. If not, just the art looks so fantastic. Like, I love that kind of art style where you take human bodies and make them kind of crazy, but still kind of realistic. Like, I really like that art style. And so if you want to do this, TJ, I'm down to go get a copy. Yeah, you're pulling it up here. But I'm down to go get a copy, and we'll do a left-wing film club comic book edition.
Yeah, film club.
Batman #1.
Yeah, film club will be just a general term for all types of media. And this is the image that John was talking about. I saw this maybe a couple weeks ago, but Batman rolls up on a group of white supremacists, and right in the middle of saying white power, he snaps the guy's elbow. So yeah, what I saw this post, oddly enough, on Facebook. I still go on Facebook every now and then. And I saw the post shared, and a lot of people were commenting, well, now do BLM. They're just as racist. Like, man, if you got to start making qualifiers, people start beating up white supremacists. What's going on? Like that makes me. If you
Why are you acting defensive right now, bro?
Yeah, oddly defensive shit. I don't know. That's kind of concerning. Not surprising at all, but it is a little bit concerning. But all right, you know what, John, you said we can get to it later, but I wouldn't mind getting into it right now with the death of our dear friend. Yeah. Tuesday was a rough day for Republicans with the elections. Some of them didn't even survive, right, John?
Some of them didn't survive. Our great friend of the show, Dick Cheney, passed away on Tuesday. And usually I wouldn't speak ill of the dead, but that's a lie. I love speaking ill of the dead, especially when they deserve it. And oh boy, does Dick Cheney deserve it. And this is one of those things, this happens all the time now, where some horrible person dies. And there's been a vibe shift, because not too long ago, every politician in America would have been wishing Dick Cheney there's giving some message about Dick Cheney. But now that is not the case, and you can tell a very distinct difference between those who feel they have the need to and those who do not. You didn't see glowing obituaries from the progressives of the world because he's a bad person. And I agree with them. We shouldn't be celebrating bad people just because they held significant posts in the United States government. But then you also have people like Kamala Harris, who I'll share her post here on the screen, who said that she is saddened to learn of the passing of former Vice President Dick Cheney. Vice President Cheney was a devoted public servant from the halls of Congress to many positions of leadership in multiple presidential administrations. His passing marks the loss of a figure who, with a strong sense of dedication, gave so much of his life to the country he loved. And I said Kamala continues to prove she has learned nothing from the loss by glazing Dick Cheney for no reason. And I had a lot of people saying that's just the respectful way to respond. When a politician dies, someone of importance dies, that's just the respectful right thing to do. And my question, TJ, to all of them is fucking why? Why is it the right thing to do? Hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians died as a result of Dick Cheney orchestrating the illegal invasion of Iraq by lying to the American public about them possessing weapons of mass destruction. I didn't see Kamala Harris or anyone post about any of those hundreds of thousands of civilians who died at the hands of Dick Cheney, but for some reason we're supposed to congratulate him and say he was a devoted public servant. What public did he fucking serve? Tell me that, and then I'll fucking tell you if he deserves respect for it.
Yeah, I agree on all counts there. One thing that caught me, maybe not off guard, but I kept waiting for it, but there was, like you said, pretty much nothing, like a nothing response to the death of Dick Cheney. Like perhaps the most prolific war criminal alive. After the death of Henry Kissinger, he was probably moved to the #1 slot. He worked in Washington since the Nixon administration. Like he was George Bush Sr.'s Secretary of Defense. Like the guy has had his hands in a lot of pies over the decades. Actually, another thing too, he died at 84. Thought he was older. I really did think he was older. I was surprised that he wasn't 90 something. But no,
he was 132, staying youthful off the blood of young children.
But yeah, he looked so old 25 years ago, right? Like he looked like he was in the 70s back then.
Like Ian McKellen, where it's like he's looked old for like 4 decades.
That's kind of a feast or famine thing right there. That if you age really quickly, it can work well in your favor or it can go really badly. Patrick Stewart is this way. If you watch Star Trek The Next Generation back in the 80s, he looked 60 back then. He's my age and he looks old as fuck, And also, what's his name? George Clooney. He went gray really young. I feel like George Clooney went gray by the time he was 30 something. So over the next 50 years or 40 years, he kind of looked the same all the time. But no, this Dick Cheney thing, I kept waiting to get responses or eulogies or, puff pieces about it. It's like he never died at all. One of the few things I did see was from Kamala Harris. And I have to admit, I was shocked. I was kind of surprised that she did this because you don't have to. Like, if she was still vice president, I would expect this, right? Like when you talk about the decorum and stuff, yeah, it's kind of cheesy, it's kind of goofy, but we do need it to some extent. Well, we did in the past, at least, to keep this whole machine running here. But now that you're not in office, I don't think it's necessary. And it makes me wonder. I thought that she went with the Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney route out of pure misinformed, but calculation. Like, okay, I think this will pick him a few votes. But now that she eulogized him when there's no benefit for, like, oh, wow, maybe she meant it. Maybe she really does really like Dick Cheney. I can't think of another reason.
It really, so she didn't have to. You're right. And to anyone who says, oh, she had to, first of all, Donald Trump didn't do it. So if Donald Trump didn't do it, she certainly doesn't have to. Like if the sitting president of the same party didn't fucking eulogize him, the ex-vice president doesn't. It just it's that simple. And I actually even disagree with you that like we have to do it to keep it running. I completely disagree. Like if they deserve it, do it. If they don't. Like I really don't, because not that John loves making cohesive arguments here, but he's like, should we celebrate Washington because he had slaves? And I think that's a pretty much non sequitur. We should celebrate Washington for being the leader that helped lead the revolution to make our country, and we should acknowledge that he was also a fucked up person who owned other people. Those two things can be true. You can celebrate the good while acknowledging the bad. I think we can all agree that no one is all good or all bad, right? But the thing with Dick Cheney is what fucking good was there to celebrate? Like I asked people who were like, "Oh, you should respect." Yeah. I'm like, what did he do that is deserving of respect? What did he do besides being the vice president? Is there any actual policy? Is there any actual action that he took which made people's lives better? No. There wasn't. His legacy is death on a massive scale. That's his legacy. So I think that it's very healthy as a nation for our leaders to look at him and go, good, I'm glad he's dead. He was a horrible person who did not deserve to live a day longer. May he rest in peace. Like that is the healthy thing to do, in my opinion.
So yeah, what I meant by some decorum is necessary to keep the wheels greased. I guess you're right. I wasn't necessarily thinking about eulogies, because it's correct. No one needs a eulogy. It doesn't have to happen. But I was thinking more along the lines that, you ever watch Parliament in some other countries where fist fights break out, where
Yes.
they're having, that can ease, if you don't tamp words down, that will happen. It absolutely will. Humans are humans, and fighting words will carry some weight. So I do see the need of having some sort of levels of, we're not going to tolerate this type of language or that type of language. You can't say this, can't say that, because I don't want open fist fights happening in Congress. Maybe that's just me, boomer, but I don't want that. But the commenter there asked my favorite dumb guy question, where it was, well, how do you feel about celebrating person X, Y, and Z because they did something bad? It's like, yeah, that's human being. There's now, unfortunately, like, he might be a dumb guy, but it's not his fault. This is how people are taught this is how Americans are taught how to view history.
Right here.
Yeah, it's how we're taught to view history, and viewing people in good person, bad person boxes. So if I say something that, wow, Abraham Lincoln signing the Emancipation Proclamation, that's a good thing. People are like, all right, yeah, right, Abraham Lincoln, good guy. And I say, well, he also oversaw the largest mass execution of Native Americans. Or, whoa, hey, you can't talk bad about Abe Lincoln. He's a good guy. And it's like, okay, we're honoring people. Honoring people is stupid. Pretending that one person is a good person all the way through and we should revere this individual is absurd. The truth, or what we should do, is exactly what John said, is that we celebrate actions, we celebrate ideas, we celebrate goals, celebrate principles. And if they embodied it or they accomplished that, yeah, you can celebrate them for that. And I agree completely, John. If you're going to eulogize someone, just saying this was a great man and a public servant, no, fuck you. What are we eulogizing? What are you so happy about? It's like, you want a statue to Robert E. Lee for what? What exactly are you honoring Robert E. Lee for? Like, his only significant contribution to American history was leading a revolt against the United States of America to create his own sub-country of it that constitutionally legalized slavery of specifically black people for its entire existence. Nothing worth celebrating. Like, you bring me something, okay, but you got nothing. So yeah, this thing with Dick Cheney, I can't.
We did great things in the Spanish-American War, TJ. You can't forget about that.
Yeah. If you want,
I don't even know if that was the one, TJ. I don't even know if that was the one.
It was the Mexican-American War, as Robert Lee was in before that. Yeah, close. Yeah, it's easy to confuse those two, though. Yeah, but if you want to say, yeah, I think that this person, like Thomas Jefferson, if you want to praise Thomas Jefferson because of his, writing the Virginia Statute on Religious Freedom, upon which the First Amendment is based, okay, all right, I'm on board with that. But when someone points out, well, this guy, yes, that's true. I hate that we try to make the founders or any historical figures something less than gods, but more than men. Like, if you want to revere these people, honor them and remember them for the human beings they were, not as the gods you imagine. Like, you owe them that respect as human beings. Just be honest about what these people were. You don't got to pretend otherwise.
And that's the thing, TJ. It went like you're saying this, and I'm like, yeah, no, this sounds so reasonable. It
Yeah,
sounds like
it's not.
anyone would
It's
agree
like,
with this. All humans are fallible. All humans are a mix of good and bad things. No one is perfect. No one who has done a really bad thing should just have that forgotten about because they did a really good thing. Like, that's not how anything works. That's not how you would treat your friends, your family, anyone you know in real life. If someone I knew, I don't know, raped someone and then they cured cancer, I'd be like, well, fuck. I'm glad you cured cancer, bro. Really great accomplishment. You're still a dickhead for raping that person. That's how I would treat that person in real life. So why do we act like these people, Dick Cheney, the founding father, whoever it is, why do we act like they're immune from this same level of analysis we would give a real human being that we know? It just
well,
get upset.
I.
Oh, Thomas
Oh, go ahead.
Jefferson
Sorry.
never did anything. Like, you're like, Thomas Jefferson, he was just entirely bad, and you're going to get upset about that? Okay, well, that's fine. You're right. He wasn't entirely bad. He did great things. But if you're going to be upset when people are like, yeah, it kind of makes me uncomfortable that he owned people and raped children because they were my skin color, that makes me uncomfortable when we have statues going around. That's a very reasonable fucking argument. And if you're going to treat it like some attack on American history, what the fuck are you defending exactly?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh god, what did you say right before that? Shit. It was fuck, I can't remember. Nah, it's too bad. But yeah, the specificity and when we're honoring someone is very important and it is very reasonable. It's not like this is some complex thought that we're trying to get across. But oh, I remember what it is now. The why people would have a problem with this. Like, why is it that when you put forth this obvious fact, like this is how the world is, and I'm just trying to see it that way. Why do you insist on this cartoon character version of history and how this world with comic book villains and shit? I think it's because, like, if I'm going to take like the thought from like a right wing or whatever, they are afraid of something that has kind of happened, in which uh, you have large groups of the population that don't have the same mythology or heroes or like or aspirational characters that they're trying to reach. And if I could, like, of all people, Jordan Peterson kind of opened this up to me in a weird way. I heard him talk about how he read some scholar who or some philosopher who said that if you're stupid, religion is really good for you. Religion is really good for you if you're not that bright. And Jordan Peterson was saying that, and this isn't to say that it's right for you because you're dumb. Like, you're dumb, so of course you're going to believe this nonsense of religion. That's not what he was going with. He was saying that human beings, like, have you ever seen Master Commander? That's another good movie, John. You ever seen that?
I actually have not seen that one, but
Oh,
I do. I've always wanted to watch it. I just never. That's the one with Joaquin Phoenix, right?
Russell Crowe.
But
He's
I
on
think Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix. I could be wrong.
Oh, is Joaquin Phoenix in it? Okay, well, I didn't know. But anyway, there's a line he has in there where he said, I think it's Russell Crowe. No, now I'm wondering if it's actually Russell Crowe or not. The captain is talking to the doctor. It's okay. Yeah, the captain is talking to the doctor on the ship. And the doctor has all these ideas about he's going to punish this guy for not saluting a superior officer or something like that. And he says, I don't think whipping this guy for not saluting is a good idea. He's more of a more enlightened guy, a rationalist, and he wants equality and everything. And he says, listen, if I let people get away with that for not saluting their superiors, there's going to be chaos on the ship. You're going to have everyone's going to be overrun. There's going to be a mutiny and everything. Men must be governed. Yes, sometimes they must be governed unreasonably, but they must be governed nonetheless. And that's true. Like, there needs to be structures, there need to be rules for society. And if you are intelligent enough, I hate that sounds so elitist, but if you're intelligent and rational enough to realize, okay, I may not have this guidebook given from the stars saying how I should live my life and what rules and what morality should be, but I can figure this out on my own. That I can understand what harms people. I can understand what benefits people, what seems to bring society together, what seems to actually coalesce, and we can formulate our morals based off that. If you can't think that far, religion is great for you, because without it, you could descend in some sort of like a chaos or whatever. I think that's what conservatives are afraid of. That if you take away the image, like you want people not to despise their ethnicity or the country they come from or the country they currently live in. You want them to not be nihilistic, to kind of build a national identity. I see where they're coming from. It's flawed, but I do kind of see where they're coming from.
Yeah, and I think that you're hitting the nail on the head there. And again, I don't think this is necessarily just a conservative thing. I think that this definitely, you see this on our side of the aisle as well, where you want a specific idea about what is right and what is wrong. You want people to adhere to that idea, because if they don't, if we start having to hit everything one by one, well, that just grinds the gears and grinds things to a halt, and we don't actually accomplish anything. So I get there are times, like, for example, as you said, Master Commander, where you have a military order and things need to be done incredibly quickly and efficiently, that sometimes you just need to adhere to the rules, because even if it's wrong sometimes, we have a system for getting to right that is more effective than just kind of chaos and anarchy, right? But if you're going to tell me that as a point of whatever, as just a rule of thumb, we need to adhere to these heroes, these figures, then I go, why those ones? Why those? Why is it problematic for us to point out that these people that you're talking to about these figures, these founding fathers, whoever, they owned people, they raped children, they were pedophiles, they're terrible, terrible, terrible people, and people are like, oh, you got to judge them by the rules of their time. Like, fuck no, I don't. What we're talking about right now, bro. If you want me to say I'm going to judge their morality based on that time, cool, we can do that. But if we're talking about what we think of them today, that if we're going to congratulate them today, then that's based on the morality of our time, and that conservatives really want everyone to think the same. That's why they're concerned about national identity, about immigrants assimilating into our culture. And I'm just like, survival of the fittest, bro. We're in the marketplace of ideas. Why the fuck do you need big daddy government to kick people out of our country because you're afraid that their ideas are going to beat yours? It blows my mind, and I've never understood any of these, like, we need a group cohesive thought. I've really never fucking understood it. I think I'm libertarian in that way, where it's just like, yeah, let everyone do as they will, and we'll arrive at the right answer eventually if we all just keep trying to, instead of trying to defend a certain idea of what other people think right should be.
I don't know if I agree with you on this one. I think we might be, yeah. Did you say of course?
No, I said interesting.
Oh, no.
We don't often disagree.
No. Well, because I agree. Yeah. Yes. It is weird. It is very weird that so many people are really interested in defending the honor of people who've been dead for hundreds of years. It's very bizarre. Like, it doesn't matter.
I've never even understood. People have been dead for 5 seconds. They no longer matter.
Yes.
They are dead.
Yeah.
Like desecrating a corpse. Who gives a shit? They're dead. They don't exist. They will never know. It cannot hurt them. And I know that that's like some radical statement, but prove me wrong, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna go down that road actually with you, John. I put a bookmark on that. I'm gonna come back to that. But okay, so yeah, defending the honor of dead people, waste of time. Like maybe if they're related to you, I can see that hurting your feelings or something. But yeah, I don't understand the point that it's important to not only chronicle what Benjamin Franklin did, said, and advocated for, but we have to say he's a good guy too. Make sure the kids know that. It's kind of stupid.
They literally want to have a false representation of what he was. They would prefer that than to have an actual realistic depiction.
Yeah. The mythology matters more than the history. But with the assimilation thing, and there are certain, I guess, like cultural assimilation isn't quite as, although they do kind of go hand in hand, that like our culture derives a lot from our politics, or and the other way around, politics derive from culture too. But say we have, this isn't the case right now, but if you have a segment of the population that really hates the idea of freedom of speech and freedom of expression, freedom of the press, and they're gaining more and more speech, I have no confidence that, oh yeah, our ideas are better, so they're going to win. Like, history hasn't taught me that. History has taught me that the strongest groups wins. It doesn't teach me that the one with the best ideas wins. So I do see how you could at least be worried about that. If, for example, you are Republican and you know, you have, you're not all that bright, and you see Zoran Mamdani and you think, okay, this guy is a Muslim from Uganda. He's going to institute this strict far right Islamic code of law. Women are going to be, second class citizens. We're not going to have freedom of speech or freedom of religion. He's also a far left communist somehow. He's somehow a far right Muslim extremist and a socialist communist at the same time. But if you really do believe, if like not bullshitting, if you really do believe that this person is going to harm people, yeah, I can see that being a possibility in your concern. I don't think it's legitimate in almost every case that I've seen, but I do see where they're coming from with that.
So when people talk, to me, these are two separate things where there is cultural identity and ideas, national identity, whatever you want to call it, and policy positions. If you're going to say, hey, it would be bad if we had so many immigrants come from Islamic nations that they outnumbered us, and suddenly they are running the country for democratic means, and we now have Sharia law in our country. I'll agree with you, bro. If that is the case, I would agree. We should start putting immigration restrictions on. Of the 330 million Americans currently in America, let's say 10,000 of them would vote for Sharia law. I'm pulling these numbers out of my ass, but it can't be that much fucking higher. We got millions more to go. We got tons of room before we're anywhere close to the margin of error where I am ever worried about that. And you know what? Once they come here and they have kids here and they're raised in our public education system, that is not going to exist anymore. All of those like terrible, awful policy things you might have a realistic worry about coming from other countries, they will be uprooted in a generation. They will not exist anymore within these populations because we have a very, as long as like we don't have 600 million immigrate here all at one time, we're going to be fine when it comes from a policy perspective. And we're not going to have these dangerous terrible policies that you're worried about. We are way closer to having Christian nationalism democratically take over this country, but you never see anyone talk about not letting more Christians into this country. So that's why I'm just like, you have to separate these two, because when it comes to cultural identity, I don't give a shit, TJ. I could not give a flying fuck what other people celebrate as part of their culture. This is what I always say. It's just like, how is it affecting me? If everyone around, all of my neighbors were replaced with Muslims, wouldn't change my fucking day at all. I would still celebrate all of my family's cultural traditions with all of my family, with all the friends I always have. As long as they're still here, what other people do is none of my fucking business. I do not give a shit. As long as they're not inflicting harm on an innocent person, it's not my fucking business what they think, whether they think America's cultural identity. I don't give a shit. Do not care. Do not care any little bit about it.
Yeah. I think you could get millions of people voting for Sharia law if you just told them that it was Christian law and said that we're going to implement these same rules, but don't tell them that it's from a Muslim candidate. They would absolutely go for
undercover,
they would absolutely go for it. Yeah, millions.
Yeah, they would. Yep.
But yeah, Dick Cheney died, and in fact, today I went to the post office and I said, "Oh, why is the flag at half mast?" Oh, that's right, Dick Cheney died. I had kind of forgotten about it. It's such a
already incredible,
already gone. Nobody, and good. Look, it's already bad enough that if we've mentioned many times, if there's one thing God is good at, it's rewarding evil men. Dick Cheney, I'm sure, died peacefully in his sleep, surrounded by his friends, family, and loved ones after decades of mass murder. Say what?
All two of them.
All two of them, yeah. But I mean, look, it's better than he deserved. Like, however he went, it's better than he deserved. And maybe take a little bit of solace in that he's not remembered well or at all, which kind of surprised me, given how it's hard to name more influential people in the first 10 years of this century than Dick Cheney. And the fact that he's dead now and people are like, oh yeah, Dick Cheney's dead. And the party is radically different, kind of incredible. So positive step that way, I guess. I don't know.
I guess. Colby asked, do you guys think Charlie and Dick are hanging out together? And I will say this. No, I don't think so. Dick is in a far deeper circle.
Oh, yeah.
Than Charlie ever will be. As much as we have harshly criticized Charlie over many things he did and said and did, damn, Dick Cheney is on a different level. He is a monster among monsters that, oh my God, hundreds of thousands of people are dead directly because
Dick Cheney.
And that is not an exaggerated statement.
I would never insult Charlie Kirk by comparing him to Dick Cheney. I would never do that. Charlie Kirk lived a much more virtuous life than Dick Cheney could have ever dreamed of. And honestly, I would say, I would imagine Charlie Kirk probably wasn't a fan of Dick Cheney. Like if you asked him before he died, he probably wouldn't have had a lot of nice things to say about him either. So yeah, Charlie Kirk is suffering in one part of hell, watching Satan's forcing him to watch JD Vance porking his wife. That's hilarious. I'm glad that's happening. But Dick Cheney suffering a whole lot more. Okay, I wrote this.
Wait, DJ, can we talk about that for a
second? Sure. Let's go.
We actually haven't. So the commenter here, So John, in our comments, he's been here a lot. He's been a long-term hater of mine for years.
He's your buddy, yeah.
And I have disagreed with him on many things. Thought many things he said are ridiculous and dumb. But this was the most ridiculous argument I have ever had with him, and I can't believe that other people were also fighting this battle. That. This for those of you who don't know what we're talking about. JD Vance. I'm not gonna say I don't know there's any relationship going on here, right? It does seem like something we're making fun of, poking haha. Similarly to how I don't know that JD Vance fucked his couch. And if you were to put a gun to my head, I'd say, yeah, he probably didn't fuck his couch. But gosh darn it, I'm gonna have fun with JD Vance fucking his couch. I don't know that JD Vance is fucking Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk. But what I do know is this hand placement on a fucking woman is on a grieving widow is fucking insane. When you have cameras on you, TJ.
Yeah, man.
Cameras watching you, and you put your I've never. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm crazy here, TJ. Have you ever placed your hand on a woman's waist like that and not known very intentionally what you were doing?
No, I can't recall that. Also, the way she grabbed him was a little suspect too. I guess you could say in a vacuum, one of these occurring in a vacuum, maybe give it a pass. But the fact that he's grabbing her waist in that clip and that image there, she has her fingers entwined in his hair when she's hugging him. I don't think I've ever had a woman hug the back of my head like that we were just buddies or that there was, I can't think of that ever happening. And also, I don't know if you saw this, John, but before she brought JD onto the stage, she was saying that, nobody can ever replace my husband. No one can ever replace Charlie, but I do see a lot of the same qualities he had in JD, which once again, in a vacuum, I could let that slide, of course, but everything together is ooh. I don't know if I buy into the conspiracies. I don't know about you, John, that he is going to drop his Indian wife in favor of a white one because it makes him a better candidate for president in 2028 with the Republican Party. I don't know anything about that, but I do know that he's given her the business. They are definitely fucking. I am putting all my money in on that bet.
I'm not putting all my money on.
I am.
I want it to be true. It makes my life more entertaining. But here's the thing, DJ, and I want to just because this was so much fun for me. I want to go through here because again, clearly, I feel this is not a crazy thing here. He did this. His hands on her waist.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Oh, it's not going to show up on here. Never mind. But anyway, John shared the video. This is the video where. Look, he grabs his head, boom, puts his hand on it. He notices. He notices where his hand is, and he pulls it away because he knows it's a bad look. He knows it. Nothing has ever been more obvious. I just
ask. Yeah. Ask yourself: would you grab your sister or your mom that way? Like, would you do that?
That's literally why I asked John TJ. I was like, bro, have you ever like hugged a man and had your hand slide to his waist like that? No.
Yeah.
No, you have not.
Yeah. It's fun, man. Like, it's harmless. Who cares? It doesn't matter anyway. It's just kind of fun to mess around with. All right, but what I wanted to ask you, what you mentioned, because we were talking about cultural changes and laws and stuff like that. So I feel like I've been defending conservatives this entire hour. This is so strange, but I do have some sort of understanding. Actually, it's complete understanding. I'm not bullshitting. I have absolute understanding of how I get into arguments with right wingers and I say, okay, well, you don't like policy X, Y, or Z. And they say, no, I don't like it. And then we'll spend an hour talking about it and trying to figure out exactly and pinpoint precisely how this is harming anyone, the people taking place in the action, or anybody observing it, kids there. And usually it's nothing at all. And then he gets just like, yeah, but I still don't like it. I act like that's insane, but I get it. Because we're all that way, honestly. That every belief you have is irrational. Every single one of them. You eventually get down to the core of it. It's because I don't like it. That's what all our beliefs come to. But some are a little more easy to point out than others. And you talked about desecration of a corpse. And that's not the route I'm going down. I'm going down the cannibalism route. There's no way you haven't thought of this. There's not knowing John.
No,
yeah. So, and that's one where I'm like, I kind of have a conservative's answer to this because so a lot of people might think that cannibalism is illegal or not recommended or highly discouraged because, you eat human flesh, it can make you sick. That is kind of true. It's kind of true. It's not 100% true. It's just your brain. If you eat a human brain, you will get sick and you will die. There's little organisms called prions in there. It gives you the human version of mad cow disease. Like cows, I don't think can eat cows at all. It will make them sick. But if you eat a human brain, yes, it will fuck you up. Anything else, you prepare it and cook it properly, it'll be fine. You'll be okay. However, I still don't think if someone came with legislation saying, listen, it's perfectly okay. We can take people if they volunteer for this or the families are fine with it. We got dead bodies and we got to package this. I don't want to go to a supermarket where human flesh is being sold. I just don't fucking want that. I can't give you a moral reason. Like I can't. But it is something I just don't want. So we all have those beliefs in some sense. You can find way more than that. But conservatives just have some that seem crazy to me and not to them. You know what I mean, John?
So I understand what you're saying here.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that there is a lot, like a rational argument against legalized cannibalism.
Oh, let's go.
Because I agree. If it was just like blanket, there's no in a vacuum, right? Mm-hmm. Cannibalism should be legal. Like who gives a fucking shit? It's a dead person. They don't they don't care about their body. Like they're dead. They don't exist. They're harming no one by eating that person. Mm-hmm. However, if we were to legalize cannibalism needs to be illegal for the same reason that selling your organs needs to be illegal. Because if you make it legal and people learn how to make money off of it, a lot of motherfuckers are going to die over it. It's going to be very bad. If you let Monsanto exist in a world where cannibalism is legal, a lot of motherfuckers are going to die. So it's better to just not open that fucking can of worms, because once you open it, I'm willing to say it's a slippery slope argument.
I was right, John.
It is a slippery slope argument.
This sounds suspiciously similar to a slippery slope argument. Right
it is. I will admit it's a slippery slope argument, but here's the thing. We don't gain much from making cannibalism illegal because 99.99999% of people won't do it anyway. But if you let a company generate demand for cannibalism legally, it's going to happen. It is. And it's better
John.
never let that happen.
Oh, John, how the mighty have fallen. John going with the most philosophically weak argument at all, the slippery slope. I mean, it's the same thing like conservatives with like gay marriage. Like, well, we have gay marriage. Next thing you know, people be marrying animals. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Like, it's like.
But here's the thing, TJ. Here's the thing. I'm not against people marrying animals. No fucking problem with that. They want to marry an animal, go ahead and marry an animal.
See. All right, so like
that's different. You're hurting a sentient creature at that point.
Wait a minute. What do you think the marriage is for? So hold on. What do you? Okay, all right. All right. So can it consent to a marriage?
That's interesting.
I mean, how's it going to sign the document? Like,
my dog consents to our relationship. You know, like I'm not married to him.
No, it doesn't.
But
no,
what do you mean she doesn't? If
no,
I open the door, DJ, she would not leave.
John,
she's very glad to be here.
John,
consent to a relationship.
No. Listen, your dog is a being that doesn't know the situations. It couldn't possibly consent to this because it doesn't understand the relationship. It has Stockholm syndrome because you feed it and give it shelter, and so it's like, oh, I love you now. It's not a consenting relationship.
TJ, shut the fuck up.
but look, the animals thing is true too. Like, why is it okay to eat animals but not to fuck them? And like people will say that, well, you can't have sex with the animal because it doesn't consent. It sure as hell doesn't consent to be slaughtered and eaten either. We don't give a fuck about that. Yeah. So like I will admit we are really arbitrary on things that are good that we like and that doesn't harm anyone because there is a giant list of things that doesn't harm anyone where I'm like, fuck no.
Fucking philosophical clusterfuck because damn, I actually, you might be convincing me that animal cruelty should be legal right now.
What? Wait a minute, should be legal? Like you should be able to be cruel?
Logically speaking,
we
can slaughter animals in a slaughterhouse, we should be able to kick them.
Well, listen. All right. So the philosophy does get pretty deep with this because if the animal doesn't experience any pain, like say you like that machine they had in No Country for Old Men where it just like punctured through the head, gone, and it's eaten. And when it's dead, it doesn't matter anymore, right? It's just a hunk of flesh. So that's if there's no pain involved. Is that more humane than actually kicking it? I would say it was. I think it actually is. That if you give it a humane death and slaughtering, then if you beat it for 10 years, I know which one I would pick. I would pick the death. So, yeah.
The things that we legalize, that we subject animals to in factory farming, you might want to argue that like we shouldn't have that. And
yeah, I agree.
That might be the better argument. But as long as we have that, it's pretty silly to say you can't kick an animal. It's pretty silly. It's silly.
No, I don't think it's silly. I don't think it's silly because it's kind of like the vegan argument that John and I have gone on record many times. The vegans are right. The vegans are correct. I hate to admit it. Actually, no, I have no problem admitting it. It's true. I've tried being a vegetarian vegan. I just haven't tried hard enough because morally they have the high ground. I will absolutely see that. And but when you go on from there, like how you treat animals after that, besides eating them, that's a little more tricky because is it like raising animal as a pet, like your pet, your dog or your cat or something like that? Yeah, they didn't consent to that relationship. They don't know enough about the system to actually choose if they want it or not. But if you let them go, they're going to be worse off, right? They're going to live shorter. They're going to get sicker. They actually are better off with you. There's not a lot of easy answers to it, but I just try to land on the causing as little suffering as I can, which is why I think, I don't think it should be okay to beat animals and torture them, like just for cruelty for the sake of cruelty. I'm going to vote against that every time, against a being that can feel pain.
Yeah, and I'll agree with you there. I don't know where this train left to the station, so I don't know how to circle it back.
Yeah. I wrote down I was looking at my notes here. Thomas Jefferson, maritime law. I wrote down. I'm not sure. Oh, you wrote down.
I said the very beginning of the show. You're like, sure. That's like my second favorite kind of law behind maritime law.
I will say something about maritime law while we're on the subject here. No, I don't know why it's so funny to me that it's an interest to you because it's also an interest to me. It wasn't an interest to me until I was in the military, because in the Army, whenever you get a punishment, like let's say you show up late for work, right? Now, that's a crime. You've just broken the law. You have just defied the order of your commanding officer. So I can get you court-martialed for that. Like, okay, Private Cooper didn't show up. I'm sending you to court. That doesn't happen. People don't get sent to court-martial until they show up late for work or they do something wrong. What generally happens is that your commander has the power to levy a non-judicial punishment. It's called an Article 15 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, where it says, okay, you did something wrong. I'm going to fine you, dock your pay, make you do extra duty, demote you, so on and so forth. Now, you can say, yes, sir, I'll take the punishment. Or you can say, actually, no, what I did was perfectly fine. I demand a trial by court-martial. You can do that anytime you want in the military, unless you're in the water. Now, if you were on a boat, the captain of the ship is essentially an emperor. He can do literally anything he wants at any time he wants. So yeah, maritime law is kind of fascinating because it's totally different than what you'd expect here.
And it's funny, like it makes sense though. Like when
it does.
It does make sense. Like there has to be order on a boat, or else everyone's gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
So you need to kind of have that God Emperor status to keep everyone alive for a limited period of time. And that's why it makes sense, because you can only be on the sea for a limited period of time. You're always going to be able to get back to shore unless it kills you. But I do find maritime law to be very interesting, to be honest. Mostly the thing that made me interested in it was Arrested Development. Wonderful show.
Never seen it.
Oh, you should see it. It's fucking fantastic. But anyway, so we do have a couple other things to talk about. This is a Q&A show, so please let us know in the comments if you have any questions you want to ask us. One that I want to address was from Colby. This isn't even a question. TJ, you're not on Threads. You're missing out on this every day. TJ, why are you not on Threads?
I don't know.
That is my question. Because you got to get there, man. I need you there.
I think I posted something on Threads for the first time since Threads came out. I think when Threads came out, I may have made 1 or 2 posts. I just never went back to it. But yeah, I know a lot of people are on it, so maybe I shouldn't see what's going on. And I feel like a quarter of the time on the show, you bring up something that happened on Threads, and I'm just like, oh no, I didn't see it. So yeah, maybe I should get on that.
Thread, like that has become my main, like 100%. That is my main platform where I get the most views, most engagement. I spend the most time on it. I make the most content on it. And it's easier. It fits my life better than making short form video content. And so I just do that a lot of the time now. So definitely get on there because it would be great. I'm trying to build more, community on there with other creators, and it's a great place to do it. So definitely get on there. Did want to circle back. So Tuesday, any other notes on Zoran before we get to the broader?
Oh boy, absolutely. Zoran, this has been a really fascinating thing to me watching Zoran Mamdani's election. I tried to find this clip, but I think it was Mike Johnson, and he was talking about Hakeem Jeffries endorsing Zoran Mamdani and saying that this just goes to show you that the radical left wing of the Democratic Party has taken over the entire organization, that they're all bowing down to Zoran Mamdani. They're pushing out the old guard. And Mamdani, by the way, isn't just a Democrat. He is a socialist. He admits it. He actually says it, that he's a socialist. And then you'll see Donald Trump before the election saying that he's endorsing Cuomo because he took a bad Democrat over a socialist, given the two options. And Fox News, Sean Hannity was announcing the winner of the mayoral race, and he said that I'm in tears here. And he was like, I don't think he was actually crying. I think he was playing up for the camera, but he was like, trying to catch his breath and wiping his eyes, like the great city of New York is falling. And it's like, okay, guys. Now you're really going to start calling the Democrats socialists. Now, not like before. You didn't mean it all those years before when you called Joe Biden a communist, or Kamala Harris the socialist, or Barack Obama Chairman Mao or something. I don't know how much juice this is going to keep having when it's always your go-to. And now you're saying, but we really mean it for real this time. Have you noticed that?
TJ, it is so cathartic to watch because they got nothing. They pulled out the big, scary socialist card.
Yeah.
Didn't work. And now they don't. And not only did it not work, TJ, not only did it not work, but it helped Zoran. Zoran played that shit up. He was on the debate stage with Cuomo being like, buddy, Trump endorsed you, bro. What's up with that? And it hurt Cuomo. It's fantastic. It is. They're watching their entire world shatter before their eyes. Genuinely, I do empathize with them. It's scary. I know it's scary because we're on the other side of it. I'm royal we here, but the left side of the aisle has called things Nazi shit, called things fascism that aren't for a while. And then an actual fascist took the presidency. Maybe not one that describes himself openly as a fascist, and I don't think he thinks he's a fascist because I don't think he understands what the word means. But it's scary. It's scary to watch. Everyone who's a fan of us on this watching the show right now understands it's scary to watch people who are clearly and obviously fascist be able to gain power in the United States of America. And if I were to put myself in the shoes of someone who genuinely thinks a socialist or a communist is as scary or as terrifying as a fascist, no matter the fact that that isn't true in any way, shape, or form, it is scary. And you're seeing that reaction. The fear they're expressing, as much as I don't think Kennedy's crying, I do think he's scared of this. I do think that this has been a shot across the bow for a lot of people, especially people who lived through the Red Scare, who thought this could never happen in America. And yet here we are. And as much as I am excited about it, I understand why my opponents are equally as scared of it.
You think Sean Hannity is among them? Because, like,
I can see personally.
Okay.
I'm saying in general, a lot of these people are genuinely scared of this. Like, this is genuinely scary for a lot of people in a way that Joe Biden winning the presidency would never have been, you know?
Yeah, I guess it applies to a certain segment of the population. It's just that you can't say that Nancy Pelosi is a communist and then have a heart attack when Zoran Mamdani says, wow, he says he's a communist. We're really in trouble now. So were you lying before? Did you know that she wasn't a communist?
Yeah, 100%. 100, TJ.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously
okay.
lying.
All right. Okay.
Like, I'm going at
well,
then I know you're lying. You know you're lying. But now you're reaping you're reaping what you sowed with that lie, and it is wonderful to watch.
Okay, all right, yeah, I guess that could be the case, but yeah, it is pretty fun to watch everyone fall apart and melt because of this, and especially when Republicans. I thought New York was a lost cause already. I thought New York was already a shithole blue state with crime rampant, overrunning the place. But now it's the greatest city in the world, and you can't believe that it's going to fall to these socialist causes. And like John said, I haven't gone into detail on all of Mamdani's policies and everything. I see him talk about something. Yeah, cutting the red tape for street vendors that doesn't need to be there. The problem that Republicans run into is they have this, like, I don't know, toddler like understanding when it comes to regulations. It's like, well, regulations are just bad, and returning the world to like an 1880s Gilded Age style where child labor laws don't exist. People can work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, just no protections at all. Yeah, that's insane. But if you say, well, this regulation hurts because of this reason, that's why it's bad, I'm open to that conversation. I think that's perfectly healthy to have. A Republican just reject it outright. But New York City is going to be fine. Everyone's saying that, wow, the rich people, they're all going to leave because Mamdani is raising their taxes by 2%. First, you guys have been saying this my entire life. My whole life, you guys have been saying the rich people are going to leave New York. Second, they're not going to leave. Where the fuck are they going to go? New York City is the capital city of the goddamn planet. All right, they are there for a reason, okay? They will pay 2% extra money they're not going to miss to live in New York City. You would too. So relax. Like, Mamdani had a great line in there saying that the billionaire class has done a great job telling people who make $30 an hour that their problem is people who make $20 an hour. That's the entire Republican Party. Like, people who have less money, less power, less influence than you, they're the ones you should be worried about. Immigrants, trans people, women, minorities, like, they're the real problems in this country. The rich, Donald Trump is great. Donald Trump is your buddy. Elon Musk, they're pals. Yeah. Oh, there's a great Joe Rogan post I wanted to show about that too. I saw you post something out. What you got, John?
Yeah, no. So first of all, I just wanted to point out, Chris had a great comment here. Regulate the bedroom, not the boardroom. Republicans, yeah, that is pretty much how they view these things. So I was looking this up. I want to confirm this was true before I said it, and it is. So Zoran Mamdani did not just win the mayoral election in New York City. It would be monumental enough. It would be inspirational enough. I would still be super energetic if he just became the mayor by any stretch of the imagination. He didn't just do that, TJ. He got more votes than any mayoral candidate since 1969.
Wow.
He did so in a contested election where a Democrat, a influential and brand name Democrat, household name Democrat, ran as an independent against him. He got spoiler affected and still got more votes than anyone since 1969. That's not just a win.
Yeah,
That's
wow.
a goddamn fucking mandate. That is a dick slap across the face. He went from unknown state council member to mayor of New York City, winning more votes than anyone since 1969 in a year. And you know what, TJ? He deserved it. His campaign was a breath. It wasn't just a breath of fresh air. It was a breath of fucking pure cocaine to the heart. It was so good. He made an ad. It was a Spanish language ad. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't see it.
It was Spanish language. He spoke in Spanish the whole beginning of the ad. It was like his normal style of ad, which we all know is good. We all know why that wins. But he was speaking in perfect Spanish. And then halfway through the ad, it cuts and his Spanish language coach comes in. He's like, no, you're going to say it like this. And then they play like clips of him fucking up Spanish.
Oh,
and he's
good.
like, I don't actually speak like this, but I want to learn. I want to get better because so many of my constituency in New York City speak Spanish as their native language. And it's just like, bravo. That was one of the best ads I've ever seen in my goddamn life, politics or otherwise. And I don't just say that as a content creator. I say that as a marketing goddamn professional who does this for a living. Like, it was fucking fantastic. It's like Brock Purdy being Mr. Irrelevant and then not only becoming a starting quarterback in the league, but like a top 10 starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, when does this fucking happen? He came from nowhere. Nowhere. And he's running laps around everyone.
Oh my God. I just thought of a clip. I got to find it while I play this one. But Ben Shapiro had mentioned something about Zoran Mamdani that reminded me of I wanted to get to. But no, Mamdani's like his personability, his communication style, his relatability. It's his main selling point. I thought he was 38 or 30. He's 34. He's younger than I thought. Even that plays well with him too. That he's going to be at this for a while. And I hate making like long-term predictions about the effects of someone in winning a political campaign. But the fact that he shows that this can happen, I think more than anything, it does show the Democratic establishment that it's not that the left-wing policies are going to be our key to unlocking the hearts and minds of the American people. But if you have the right conduit, you can get any message across pretty much. Honestly, Barack Obama, to a much larger extent, was this way too. That Barack Obama was just some fucking guy. He was just a random state senator in Illinois who I still remember when he made a speech at the Democratic National Convention, and that's when people started knowing, caught fire. He ran for federal Senate, won. Barack Obama, by the way, weird trivia here. He was, guess what number? Like how many black senators there had been when Barack Obama became senator in U.S. history?
2.
Oh, you're close. It was 4. He was the 5th black senator in history. 2008, he was the 5th. I think Kamala Harris was the 9th or something. There just hasn't been a lot of them. So yeah, that we've got that going. But so here's a clip I wanted to show from Joe Rogan talking about Mamdani. And I don't think it's going to surprise you that Joe Rogan is not a fan of our boy Mamdani, but he had our buddy Elon Musk on his show, and he wanted to get his opinion. So here we go. Let's pull this bad boy up here.
Say Mamdani's a swindler. I know he has a bunch of fake accents that he used to use.
Yeah.
And, but what else has he done that makes him a swindler?
Well, I guess if you say if you say to any audience whatever that audience wants to hear, instead of having a consistent message, I would say that is a swindly thing.
I don't think anyone knows telling an audience what they want to hear more than Elon Musk. It's just really funny coming from that guy who's built his entire career on just, lying to pump up stock, or just spreading like white supremacist shit on Twitter, just to telling people that he plays video games like professionally and shit like that. Very funny to hear a guy like Elon Musk say that.
Instead of having a consistent message, I would say that is a swindly thing to do. Yeah, but he is charismatic.
Well, you convinced me, John. How about you?
It's so wonderful to watch. He's squirming because it's funny because Joe Rogan thought he was throwing a softball.
Yeah,
like Joe Rogan, he's like, I know he had fake accents, which he didn't. He sometimes speaks with a dialect, like when he's speaking to other people who come from his background. Yeah, that we all fucking do that. Republicans not understanding what code switching is never will not be funny. Like it's just like, and they also pretend they don't do it. And it's just always funny to watch. Like they pretend that's something. But anyway, like he doesn't have an answer. He called him swindler because, bro, we call socialists swindlers.
He mentioned Zohran Mamdani on episode.
That's just what we do. They're swindlers. Like, why is he a swindler? Nothing. Not a single thought in his brain about why he's a swindler. It's just, look at him.
Yeah. Well, and it's, we all have this, fourth grade American education understanding of socialism as a concept. And that's just when the government gives you free stuff. And everyone knows things aren't free. This is really silly. It works. It still works. I don't know how long the lasting power is going to be with this, but you mentioned like when you first heard about Mamdani, and I think we probably heard around the same time when he won the primary, when he started gaining some steam. Yeah. One guy who's having a tough time on the conservative end of the spectrum is one Ben Shapiro. I've been watching Ben Shapiro the last couple of weeks, and he is crashing out, man, because the Republicans, rather predictably, are embracing more and more Nazi shit and white supremacist shit. I know who could have foreseen this.
You could have seen that coming, TJ.
Do you know who Dinesh D'Souza is? You've got to know who Dinesh D'Souza is, right? Yeah. If you go to his Twitter page, it's hilarious, John. The last few days, Dinesh D'Souza has been going on a tear against conservatives, specifically Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, more mainly Tucker Carlson, because Tucker Carlson, and this is why Shapiro's going to be mad at this clip here, Tucker Carlson invited Nick Fuentes onto his show and had a friendly, chummy conversation. Now, who could have guessed that would have happened, by the way? And Ben Shapiro saying we need to be sounding the alarm bells on this. Like, this is a bad thing that Tucker Carlson is embracing open Nazis like that. And Ben Shapiro's going out of his way to say
keyword open. I just wanted to keyword open.
Yes.
It's always been okay to embrace secret Nazis. It's embracing open Nazis that is problematic.
Yeah, and this is like, what's the expression? Tokens will be spent. Like, it is going to have, like, Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin. If you're a part of a minority group and you're the Republican Party, your usefulness will run out. It will run out sooner than you would probably imagine. Ben Shapiro is watching his usefulness vanish right before his eyes. He's watching it, and it terrifies him. And I wanted to play this clip here of him talking about Tucker Carlson, but he mentions Mamdani here too at the end, I believe.
Tucker Carlson, who has come under absolutely deserved fire for glossing Nick Fuentes last week. The infighting did not begin with people critical of Carlson. It began with Tucker Carlson, who has spent precisely zero effective time attacking Zohran Mamdani. He mentioned Zohran Mamdani on episodes 3 times in the last 2 years. He did mention Zohran Mamdani one time in the past month, praising him.
That guy was the only person in the New York City mayor's debate to say he wanted to focus on New York City. All the candidates were asked, if you could visit a foreign country, what would it be? And they, of course, all had an answer. I think most said Israel. And he said, I wouldn't go anywhere. I'd stay in New York because that's what I'm doing. I'm running New York. That's my job.
Well, he gave the right answer.
He gave the right answer.
I mean, with that kind of critique, I can't imagine how Zoran Mamdani won. Just by way of comparison, I had my staff count up how many times I have covered Zoran Mamdani at length on this program since just June. The answer is 64, 17 times since October 5th. So if we're talking about who is directing fire against the left, which seems to be the question, I think it is pretty obvious who is not directing fire against the left. I want an explainer on how unifying with people who are actively anti-conservative is going to somehow grow the conservative coalition against the left.
Okay, I have a lot to say about this, John. I'm going to say a couple of things before I get your opinion here. The first thing I wanted to lay out is that he's mentioning that Tucker Carlson mentioned Zoran Mamdani, I think it was like 3 times or 5 times, and he made a big point saying the last 2 years. Why? 2 years ago, I had never heard of Zoran Mamdani. Go ahead.
Yeah, he was nobody 2 years ago. Why that? If he was in 1 year, at least I'd be like, okay, it hasn't even been a year, but it's about 2 years is very funny. Very funny.
2 years, absolutely insane. Like $1 million to anyone out there who was talking about Zoran Mamdani 2 years. Are you kidding? Like, I feel like John said, I didn't even hear the name till March, I'm pretty sure, you know? And also, then that's goofy enough where he says that, wow, in 2 whole years, he only brought him up a handful of times. Then he said, I've brought him up 64 times since July. Buddy, you are obsessed with Zoran Mamdani. Like, he needs to put out a restraining order on you. That is some wild talk right there. Was it July or June? Let's say it was June, July, August, September, October. 4 months, 64 times. That's like, what is that? Like 16 times a month? You're talking 4 times a week? You're talking about Zoran Mamdani? What is wrong with you?
Yeah, no, it's wild. And it's funny because there's so many angles to look at that clip from. So many. Like, just the Ben Shapiro being a weird thing. Like, you're right. It's weird that you talked about him.
So weird.
I may have done that. And I am a Zoran Mamdani fan.
No chance, John. No chance you've talked about him 64 times in 4 months. No chance.
I think I have. I have.
All right. Well,
I post about him a lot. I've been on the Zoran Mamdani bandwagon and leading that charge. So
you think you did more than 4, like a week? I don't think you did that. Like maybe twice a week, I can see consistently, but every day, basically.
Spouts, but like there'll be a time where like I make 4 posts about him in a day. You know, like
okay, yeah, all right.
What's going on? But like I can say I'm at least in that ballpark, and that makes sense for me. Who is actively trying? Like I'm a fan. I want to promote him, which means on the other side of that coin, Ben, you are a hater.
Hater.
To being a hater because I don't know. Okay, TJ, I'm of 2 minds about this, to be perfectly honest with you. Because on one hand, Zoran Mamdani is running for mayor of a city, and it's New York City. It's our most important city, but it's mayor of a city. Why is Zoran Mamdani getting this much attention? But also, he has elicited in me, and I will say I have lived in New York, like I do have ties to New York. Not that he will affect my life specifically right now, but like I do follow New York politics somewhat. So like you could make an argument that I should be aware of him and everything, but like I've never been aware of any other mayor this much. Like I am inspired by him. So it does make sense to me that other people would be fearful of him. He gets the clicks, he gets eyeballs. And I think that's a good thing. And so like I'm like, I don't know if it's valid for me to attack Ben Shapiro for mentioning him this much because Zoran kind of deserves it. Like he deserves to be mentioned that much. He is that influential of a figure. I actually feel like I'm doing a disservice to try and play the game of like, oh yeah, you shouldn't care about him this much because as much as you shouldn't, Ben, the fact that you do means he's winning, and I like that.
I think that is an excellent question, John. It's one that I've asked myself because I can see why folks like us would be energized and galvanized by the campaign of Zoran Mamdani. You know, there aren't a lot of wins on the left these days. We're under the totalitarian Trump administration. Like things are just we've lost all our confidence in the reasoning of the critical faculties of our fellow Americans. It's really dark out there. We're like, oh wow, look, that's good for New York. That's good, and maybe that means something good for the movement in general. I got that part. But the Republicans collapsing on this guy, I have a hard time understanding it. I really do. Even if they are afraid, like you said, they're afraid that that the communist, he's going to destroy New York. You guys already hate New York, like we mentioned. Like you guys, like they vote and support suffering for blue states and blue cities on a daily basis. And I was trying to think of an example of trying to, because like it would be hypocritical for me to say that, well, look, you guys are conservatives. You guys don't care about the blue city of New York at all. Why do you care if they elect a super blue guy? Because I would be annoyed if, some Klan member became, governor of Alabama or something like that. I would be upset about that. However, the difference is I don't well, maybe I'm a bad example. Your average Democrat doesn't walk around speaking about their open fucking contempt of red states the way that Republicans do with blue states. I just saw Ron DeSantis on TV today saying that, being a governor is really easy when you're in Florida. All I got to do is look at what the governor of California or New York or New Jersey are doing, and I just do the opposite. You never fucking hear that from blue state governors or blue blue city mayors. You always see them respect and the dignity of the rural hayseeds and all that shit. So it doesn't make sense if you actually hate New York and you want what's worse for them, but it does kind of make sense if you are afraid the policies are going to work, which I can't accept that either, because I don't think they do believe it's going to work. I don't think for a second they think it's going to work. I think they think it's going to collapse. So what are they worried about? If anything, this would bolster people over to conservatism. I'm actually kind of at a crossroads trying to pick which one, because neither of them make sense to me.
TJ, it's the latter.
It's the latter.
TJ, I'm not sitting here and telling you that they think it's going to work, but they're terrified that it will. Like, if I don't know, let's say,
okay, that's good.
I know with certainty. I knew with certainty they would not work, and they're not. Right. Like I know with utter certainty that tariffs won't work, but there are maybe some Trump policies where I'm like, maybe it will work. I'm really trying to figure out what they are. Like I'm trying to come up with
pick one here that would have. Okay.
But let's take
say immigration. Say he does immigration and it does actually protect American jobs and raise wages and stuff.
Let's say that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I would even go as far as to say that like it's within the realm of possibility. It's far more likely that it might happen in the short term, and it generates enough understanding that it's happening from the American population that they believe it's actually working when it's not. And like, but there is a part of me that's scared that it will have a positive effect that is more noticeable than the negative effects that it has, right? So like I kind of get that, but with the conservatives, I'm trying to like be charitable as possible here, but they don't understand how anything works. They don't understand how anything works. So as much as they're like communism could never work, they don't understand why. Like I can look at the tariffs and I can explain to you why tariffs don't work. I can functionally explain to you why tariffs do not work. Therefore, I have zero fear of them working at all. With immigration, I can also explain to you why the immigration reforms don't work, but I also understand that in some ways, by some metrics, they could be made to look like they work. So that's scary. Eugenics. I don't understand why eugenics don't work. I'll be perfectly honest with you, TJ. I like conceptually kind of understand how it's always manipulated, but at least in theory, it seems to me like, it could work. It could work. It could make life better if we did eugenics. I know that historically that has never been proven to be the case, but I'm kind of like, I don't really know why that is. And so it does scare me. It genuinely scares me that if a eugenicist took power, that like people would start buying into that people would see it, it would normalize it. Just like what happened with Trump with everything. Like with everything with Trump, with the bigotry, the hatred, the anti-immigration stuff, he took power and people followed. So I understand, especially if I don't understand how socialism or communism works, that, hey, if New York happens to have a couple good years here, maybe more people jump on the socialist bandwagon, and that's scary to me because I don't actually understand how this works, and it could work. I don't fucking know. I understand that, TJ. Like, I get why Republicans are having a hissy fit over this, because it's a wall that just got blown the fuck over. Like, they never had to worry about this before. It was a sturdy wall in America. Socialists and communists cannot win political power. And that wall just got eviscerated. And now there's an entire scary unknown enemy just flooding into this.
I mean, yeah, I just I have a hard time putting myself in the mind of someone whose entire identity is calling anything, one step to the left of Fidel or like Milton Friedman, socialist and communist, like anything out there. And then a guy actually wins and not thinking, well, you guys get what you got coming. Enjoy the shit show. I wouldn't be terrified that any of it would work. I don't know, but it's true. It's people wondering what's going on here. The eugenics thing that you brought up there. Now, you said that you don't know why eugenics don't work, but this is the same problem they run into when people say that socialism doesn't work. Well, what do you mean by work? Because, I think that if you just dismiss morality and human rights, then yeah, sure, eugenics would work. Why not? I mean, we have eugenics practices. This is another one, John. Actually,
like that's the thing, though. Like from my understanding, again, I bring this up because I have very little understanding of what it is. I don't know why. Like that, I don't bring it up to be like defensive of eugenics. I'm saying like I really haven't looked into this. I don't know why it doesn't work, but I have heard from my understanding that when eugenics policies have been implemented, they have not achieved the goals that they wanted to achieve. They haven't increased the average intelligence of the population by any measurable metric or anything like that. Like even the ostensive goals of it are not achieved when it is tried to be implemented. That's what I mean by it doesn't work.
Okay, I haven't seen that or anything, but I do know that if speaking of like uncomfortable like social taboos and everything, incest is another one of those.
We are all over the for any one of our haters out there. This is the episode to go back to when we're running for office. So yeah, cannibalism, incest. Wow, fuck.
But no, like the fact that it's against the law for you to marry your sister and have a kid with her. The reasoning we say that is, well, if you have a kid with your sibling, that increases the chances of genetic deformities, of developmental mental issues and everything like that. That's eugenics. That's exactly what it is. It's saying, hey, we are trying to prevent. It's eugenics. And so, yeah, eugenics work to the extent that we're okay with the morality, because you can do a whole lot of it. Listen, like example I used to give that. If you have a problem with kids chewing gum in school and you shot the next kid that chewed gum in school, I guarantee you kids would stop chewing gum in school. It would not happen anymore. It would be a 0% probability of that occurring again. That doesn't mean you should do it. Like, just the ends don't justify the means here. And like you said, eugenics, the ends might be not what you go for here, but yeah, I can see that if you practice this enough, you can eliminate a certain class of people. You could easily do it. And if that's your goal of working, then it would work. But the morality and the social contract of human life does kind of get in the way. Kind of like I had this thought when I was a kid, John. I was really concerned. Maybe you didn't have it. But as a kid, I remember thinking, we got this problem with parents having kids that they can't take care of, or kids that they don't want or whatever. How about we sterilize not sterilize? How about we give vasectomies to all boys once they hit puberty? Boom, you get a vasectomy. Now, vasectomies are reversible for the most part. So if you are 28 and you decide you want to have a kid, sure, you get a free reverse vasectomy. That way we ensure the only people having kids are the ones who actually want to have kids. If you want to be irresponsible and just fuck around, hey, no kids are going to come for you. No burden on the social safety net. No kid being raised with parents who don't want them and grows up to steal my car one day or some shit. I had that thought when I was 14. Now, would that work? Hell yeah. Of course it would work. But it's a human rights violation. We're not going to have the state tell you can't have kids until we tell you to. So yeah, I think it comes down to your definition of work. It's kind of nebulous.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. That I've also had that same.
You got the same thought, yeah.
So the problem that I run into with it is it doesn't it's not always reversible, and so that's where I'm like, well, that's where the moral wrongness of it is like, well, you can't just do that to people against their will. If it was reversible, I think there'd be a much stronger argument.
Oh, it still would. Well, Chris, you wrote, I don't think prepubescent vasectomies would be safe. Well, to be fair to me, I said once you hit puberty, like once you hit it, I wouldn't do it to squelch. I wouldn't do it anyway. But I mean, listen, you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet, right? Like if we're gonna live in this world here, and we say, okay, we've seen all the negative effects that we have from kids being birthed and raised by parents who don't want them. We've seen higher rates of suicide, higher rates of crime, sexual abuse, the cost, the manpower, the money that we go into that, or a few guys may not have kids that wanted to have them. That seems like a price I'd be willing to pay. If I was fine with the morality of it, I would be fine with that, but I don't know.
I would love to just do like a hot take segment of like taboo. If anyone has a taboo they would like me and TJ to discuss.
Oh no, John.
we might never get this dark again. That is apparently where we are. Today, it's been a fun show, TJ.
Oh my God, this has been so fun. I'm so
conversations. I think the thing with the incest shouldn't be illegal in 2025. There's no reason for it to be illegal. It doesn't make any sense. Like everything that is problematic about incest is already illegal. Like the problematic nature of it is like if it's coercive, if it's parent, like that's the problem. But if it's like cousins, brother and sister, again, like I got the ick now. I don't like it. But like, what fucking business of it mine? It made sense. I understand why it's a thing. Like when we were like in like small little communities that like the reproductive health of the community was vital for the continued existence of that community. Like 200 people you will ever meet in your entire life. It made sense to be like, bro, yeah, you can't fuck your sister. That's gonna fuck up our entire gene pool. Don't fucking do it. That made sense. Now, who gives a shit? Like why does anyone? Why do I care? Why do I care? Fuck. If we let people with Down syndrome have kids, there's no reason to not let incest happen. There's just absolutely no reason. Doesn't make sense.
So, all right. So, Chris put a comment here. Also, vasectomies and sexual violence, ? It's not castration. No, that's not what I meant, Chris. I was saying that the children who are born to parents who don't want them have higher rates of committing sexual violence when they become adults or when they're of age. And that if we have vasectomies, you'd have fewer kids born to parents who didn't want them. That's how I say you lower sexual violence there. And Hugh Jazz wrote, is consensual incest between siblings wrong if they're infertile? Listen, I was about to say that too, because what if a brother and a brother want to get married? That's still illegal. You can't do it. But our stated reason doesn't make sense anymore. But that falls into, like, once again, like those social order lines. We don't like that. Like, it just comes right down to, no, that's gross. It's kind of like why you can't fuck an animal. Because, yeah, John is correct that in 2025, all of the rules that you can lay out against why we should have incest illegal can be mitigated. You can mitigate every last one of them. You can be like, okay, if you're infertile, then what are we worried about here? Or if you're two brothers or two sisters, there's no kids coming about. Our stated reason falls apart mighty fast. But our construct, our social order, just like I don't want to go to a grocery store and see human meat for sale. I don't want siblings to get married. That's it. I mean, it's like that's just what it comes down to. It's an odd thing. Oh, and Kyle, we brought this up. The reason why incest is bad is the children. You can have some of my distant cousins who got married and their children with disabilities. So what John and I mentioned, that is eugenics. And I thought we agreed eugenics were bad, right? Like saying that you guys can't have kids. You know how you know it's a bullshit reason? Because if two people with disabilities get married and have kids, they have a higher chance having kids with disabilities. Not illegal. If you and your spouse
you can probably easily pair two people together that aren't related and have a higher chance of their offspring having a genetic disorder that's debilitating, and it is not illegal. It would be horrific. You would never, ever, ever say we cannot let these two people have offspring. You would never say that, but for some reason we say it with a brother and sister.
I know, right?
Doesn't make sense. Again, it doesn't. I think it's weird. It's fucking weird. I don't want people to do it, but I can't think of a logically consistent reason why one should be legal and the other shouldn't be.
It's impossible to do so. The more you think about it, the more you can catch it. But yeah, this has been a pretty weird episode, John. Oh my God, it's already 7:11 or 8:11 where you're from. Let's move on to the government shutdown. I feel like we can cover the last thing with this. All right, we're on day 37 of this, John. I think when this started, you asked, was it on the betting site or did you just ask it? And you said, do you think the shut?
It would. I think like we originally said, like, would it be longer than Trump's last one, which was
I didn't think there was any chance it would be longer. And boy, it doesn't look it's ever ending. So it's already, I think, 2 or 3 days longer.
It is already longer. And I'm pulling up. I wonder if my bet won. Because yeah, we did bet, and I forget if I bet like the 35 or 40 day one. I'm checking my portfolio now here. Because I definitely won my bet about Mamdani winning the election. But how long will the government shutdown last? There it is. I said more than 40 days.
Good call there. Good call.
Yep.
Looks like you're well on the way of that.
And we are at what day is it? Do you know?
It's 36 or 37. It's 36 or 37. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm pretty that is now up. I'm up on that big time. So I will be making money on that.
Yeah, good call.
Honestly, there's part of me that wants to buy more now. More than 44, more than 45. More than 45 is at 52%.
What do you think? Now. What do you think? Like, how long do you think this is going to go? And more importantly, what the fuck is Trump's end game here? I am so confused. I don't know exactly, but maybe you got some thoughts on this.
So here's the thing. We are now in very much I don't know territory. Like, I was very, very confident that it would last longer than the last one, just given the positioning of the two parties, because the Democrats can't back down.
No.
Because they would, if they back down at this point, it would be over. It would be over for them. Like their chances, like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, their chances of holding on to leadership over the next 4 years are pretty slim pickings already. I think Chuck Schumer is going to lose a primary in 2026, but like at least there's a chance. If they back down and don't get the concessions after causing all of this shit, like they're gone. Their political days are fucking numbered, and it's a very small number. So they can't. They have to hold their position. The Republicans can. The Republicans can back down. They are fully capable of doing so. But Donald Trump doesn't want to. Donald Trump doesn't want to lose. That's his whole fucking thing. He hates losing. And if he backs down and he gives them any concessions that they're asking for, Donald Trump. So the Republicans, as long as they are still more afraid of Donald Trump than they are of the American public, they will continue doing this. The thing that muddies the entire waters of this is I don't know what the Republican congressmen are thinking right now, TJ, because if I were one of them and I saw what happened on Tuesday and I'm reading the tea leaves, I'm very fucking worried. You could tell that Donald Trump, like he brought like a meeting of like Republican senators like on Wednesday morning, and his press conferences later that day, he was hoarse as shit. He was yelling up a fucking storm. Those meetings are not good. It's toxic relationships time. And I don't know who's going, if the Republicans will cave to Donald Trump or cave to the Democrats. I really don't know.
All right. Yeah. This is what I meant by being confused. It's the same thing you were saying, but just to put a little more specificity on it, is why is this shutdown fucking happening? Because the hang up is the funding for the Obamacare subsidies, and the Democrats, I'm with you too on this, amazed at the resolve they have shown here, that they're like, nope, our message is pretty simple. It's an easy one for the American people to understand. It's one you can't fucking lose either. As much as the Republicans have tried pivoting to, they just want to give money to illegal aliens and stuff like that. Not true. But even if it was, the people are going to notice, oh, my healthcare premiums have doubled or gone up or tripled or something. At that point, you don't give a fuck about the illegal aliens. You don't care. Like, you care like, oh, I can't afford health insurance for my kids.
If my health insurance is twice as high because the illegal immigrants stopped getting health insurance, give them some motherfucking health insurance.
Exactly. It was such a poor bargaining chip for the Republicans. And then what's been really funny, actually, is the SNAP benefit thing. I mean, not funny that the SNAP benefit isn't going out anymore. But what's been interesting to me is
The judge ordered him to start.
Yeah,
again on
Trump
Friday.
said he wasn't going to do it, though. Yeah, Trump
We'll
said, yeah.
see. We'll
He
see.
said, I'm not going to
He
do
has
it. Yeah.
been out on every single time. He's never challenged a judge. He has played that little petulant child who just toes the line as much as possible, but he has not defied a judge so far like that brazenly. And he has said yes, ma'am, every single time. So he
did for a while with the immigration thing. When the judge said that he couldn't send people to El Salvador, he's like, yeah.
But TJ, he drags his feet. He
did it eventually, but yeah,
eventually he does it. You know, it might not happen Friday, TJ. He's appealing. He's appealing. He's like, I deserve to starve people. Let me starve people. I want to put it in a court document. I want to starve people.
And what's been really funny is that the Republicans they don't like the fact that SNAP benefits are going out, because much as people pretend otherwise, a lot of Republicans are on SNAP. A whole lot of Republicans are on it. Josh Hawley was one of the first ones. He's a senator from Missouri, and he was saying, this is bad. A lot of people in Missouri are on SNAP benefits, and this is not good for the people. We need to get this solved right away. But the difference from the response from the Republican politicians and the Republicans who actually talk like the regular voters online, it's much worse. If you talk to like your average Republican, like, oh, fuck those folks on SNAP. I hope they go to help, they starve anyway. That's not what Republican politicians are saying. It's been pretty interesting. But with this, I don't know what Trump's end game is, and I haven't known. Remember actually, it was a couple weeks ago. It was me, you, and I think Natalie, and we were talking about, why don't the Republicans just do a carve out for the filibuster? Because they're just hung up because the Senate won't vote for it. And they said, well, they can just do a simple majority vote to say, we're not using the filibuster here. And if anyone gives them any guff, JD Vance can fire the parliamentarian, and then they can do whatever they want. If they're so proud of the bill, why not just do that? And then Trump came out. I was like, the next day, I was like, Trump's been watching the left wing. He heard me say this, but the next day, Trump said, hey, just carve out the filibuster. And this isn't from that, but this is from today, I think, Trump talking about the same thing.
Remember, Republicans, regardless of the Schumer shutdown, the Democrats will terminate the filibuster the first chance they get. They will pack the Supreme Court of the United States, pick up 2 states, that's a lot of states, and add at least 8 electoral votes. Their 2 objectors are gone. Remember, Sinema and Manchin, they're gone. Don't be weak. Don't be stupid, Republicans. Fight, fight, fight. Win, win, win. We will immediately end the extortionist shutdown, get all of our agenda passed, and make life so good for Americans that these deranged Democrat politicians will never again have the chance to destroy America. They tried to destroy your country. Republicans, you will rue the day that you didn't terminate the filibuster. Be tough. Be smart and win. This is much bigger than the shutdown. This is the survival of our country. Terminate the filibuster and let's live the great life that this country is capable of living.
Okay, so for a long time now, I've heard a lot of people say this, that the Republicans have orchestrated the shutdown and Mike Johnson isn't swearing in people in Congress because they don't want the Epstein files to come out. I've gone on record saying I don't think the files are coming out. But that doesn't sound like a man who wants the shutdown to continue. That sounds like a man who desperately wants the shutdown to end, which makes me doubt the whole Epstein angle on this. So, but I genuinely don't, because you mentioned how the people in the Republicans in Congress are afraid of Trump. They are not following his lead on this filibuster thing. He said this a week ago, and they have come out publicly, like a dozen Republicans saying, fuck that. We aren't getting rid of it. I don't give a shit what Donald Trump says. I've never seen that. I can't remember the last time I saw Republicans say, nope, this is a principle we're holding. We don't care what Trump says, especially when it doesn't seem to be helping them. I'm actually kind of mystified as to what either of their end game is here with Trump or Congress.
So there isn't. I'm going to respond.
There isn't one. There isn't one.
I'm going to give you like the extensive shit and then like what's actually happening. But I need to poke open a comment here because
he's right.
So that did seem AI.
It did. Yeah.
Do you know that it wasn't?
Let me see. When was this? Where did I get this from? Oh shit! Where did I pull this?
So finally, because I don't think it was, because I got that same sense, but you know why? I'm really damn certain that was real. because you started to talk with that Werther's original, the thing the old people do when their vocal muscles are fatigued and they start talking like this. That's what he was doing, TJ.
Mhm.
And AI would have been trained on all of the fucking hours and hours of footage that we have of Trump before that. That was new. I have not heard him sound that bad in quite some time. He is deteriorating rapidly.
Mhm.
I was literally sitting there like, whoa. He's going to lose his fastball before this term is over. And you don't think so?
Oh, he's lost it a while. I mean, if you want to see some jarring shit, folks, go back and watch a speech from Donald Trump from 2015 or 2016. Shockingly coherent, no slurred words. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I was gonna say he lost it a while ago. He's a shell of his former self.
He's going to get to Biden level.
Oh, okay.
Like it's going to get that bad, and I'm very interested to see that play out. But to speak to your point, yeah, there's no end. There is no end game. There's no. That's the reason this could go on forever. If you end tomorrow at this point, I fucking know. I don't know who's in charge. I don't know who's steering the ship. I think that congressional Republicans want the shutdown to end, but like they can't get enough people around one concept of how that works because some of them. They're afraid of Trump enough to not cave, but they're not afraid of Trump enough to jettison the filibuster, which, by the way, I think is just fucking hilarious. Like this,
I know.
I don't know why
right?
Congress universally.
Oh man,
it's so funny. I've watched your videos on it. It's fucking fantastic. But it's really like there's no leader who has a cohesive idea of how this ends that can galvanize enough people around them. So I don't fucking know, but it's just going to continue to get worse and worse for Republicans. And I'm all here. The Democrats should look at Tuesday and go, sit on their hands and stay put. There's no reason to move. No, you're in kneel the clock out territory here, Democrats. You just got to keep taking a knee and just not move an inch until the game is over because you just got the clearest message you possibly could that you are winning this fight.
The shutdown, it actually changed the way I view Democratic strategy. Because earlier this year, what were we all complaining about? We were complaining the Democrats were just sitting on their hands and saying, we'll let the Republicans fuck up and do whatever they want, and then we'll be there to clean up the mess. I said, no, the people need to know that you're out there fighting and that you're doing the right thing. Opposite now. Like now just the statement of we are not buckling until we can guarantee these folks get medical coverage. That's great. That's standing of itself. But the Republicans have really painted themselves into a corner to the extent that nothing they do makes any sense. They, like you were talking about how the people in Congress don't want the shutdown because it's hurting them either. The only thing that makes any sense to me, this is a wild, unfounded conspiracy, I have no evidence for it whatsoever, is that maybe Republicans in the Senate aren't actually unified on this bill either. That's the only thing that actually makes sense to me. Because if you had 53 Republicans who said, this is a great bill, we need this to open up the country, this is going to bring prosperity to millions of people, why not circumvent the filibuster? I don't buy. It was funny when Trump said, if we, circumvent the filibuster, the Democrats would do it in a heartbeat. No, they won't. They've shown many times that they won't do it. I don't know why you guys would be worried about it. Just carve this out and move forward. Then you'd be heroes, right? You would be the ones who got snapped back to the people. You're the ones who opened up the government. You're the ones that got all of the TSA agents and flight coordinators paid. You're the one that made sure the military got paid. Why wouldn't you want to accept that hero's welcome unless you don't actually have enough votes and that the people that voted yes just did it because they knew the Democrats would vote no? That's literally the only, I don't know if that's true, but it's literally the only thing that makes any sense to me.
That does seem to make the most sense. Like that genuinely does seem to make the most sense because we are approaching the territory of it's filibuster or bust. Like again, the Democrats have no reason. You have no way to pressure the Democrats into moving. America clearly isn't blaming them. So you've lost all of your leverage. There's only two options. You either go around the Democrats or you work with them. Like it's the only two options on the table. The problem is, I feel like there's a at least a sizable enough faction of Senate Republicans that know they cannot get rid of the filibuster. They know the continued existence of things the way they are relies on the filibuster. And without it, they could be fucked. There seems to be this nuclear like if they call it the nuclear option, I feel like because there's a true deterrence with it of like, this is our last sacred cow. It benefits both of us. We will not touch it. And as soon as it's touched, it's on the table now. And they know that the Democrats could do more damage with it to them than the other way around because they don't build shit. They're not in a position to actually take advantage of it. They're ruled by Trump. He's not going to use it effectively. You know, like that's kind of probably where they're at. Why nuke the filibuster? You're looking at this right now and you're like, shit, we're not holding off. We're not winning the 2026 midterms. That's not going to happen. We better have this filibuster or else we're going to be fucked. Like that's probably what they're thinking right now.
That's what they say. That's the answer they give, but it doesn't make sense to me because people have already used the nuclear option, the filibuster before. It's not new. This is like, now it would be new for like
for something this high level.
For a budget, yeah, it would be new for this, but if you've done it before, it can be done again. And everybody, I don't know. It's just, it's funny. We've said many times that the only way that we'll get anything good in this country is if Donald Trump accidentally stumbles onto the correct answer. He did it with the filibuster. It's like, yep, it should go. Actually, it wouldn't be great for us right now, but overall, it makes more sense. It's kind of stupid that the filibuster exists at all. That we have this arbitrary number to end debate when it's like, okay, do the representatives, the people picked want it or not? Why do we need 60 votes? Why not make it 70? It's kind of dumb. But what I am fascinated to see, this is a weird, like I'm like watching a horrible car accident or something, that what ended the last government shutdown was the air traffic controllers and air travel fell apart because people stopped showing up to work, whatever. That's just now starting to happen. I'm sure you saw the reports that.
I got a flight for Thanksgiving that I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
Here we go. That's where I was going with this. If this shit isn't fixed by Thanksgiving weekend, we could see pitchforks. I mean, like I think that's the busiest travel weekend in the country. I'm pretty sure that's the busiest one. Yep. And we just have, people working for free, not showing up, 10% of all air travel shut down. That is it's an unthinkable scenario where they haven't actually gotten people paid and the wheels greased on this by Thanksgiving weekend. And that's 3 weeks away. I don't know. Like what either, and no matter, you're right, the Democrats can't budge. If the Democrats budge, I mean, what was the point of all that? Then you look pretty stupid. Like you went through all that suffering and got nothing out of it. If the Republicans budge, they look weak. Also, what was the point of it? But at least something good came out of it. I don't know. I feel like the Republicans are the only ones who can budge on this. The Democrats don't say they're going to. It wouldn't make sense if they did.
The Democrats stand to lose more,
a hell of a lot more, if
they budge than the Republicans do. And yeah, the Republicans will look weak, they'll and all that, but they'll recover. You know, like they will recover from looking weak in November 2025. By the time they're up for election in November 2026, they will recover from that. What they will not recover from is if the planes don't fly for Thanksgiving. They will never recover from that.
No, you can't.
Will remember that.
Yes, exactly. I think that could be career-ending shit for like Mike Johnson and Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, or something like that. It won't be for Trump because nothing ever is. But that is like a black mark you just can't easily look over. Where no one got to go see their family for Thanksgiving. You know, I don't know. It's kind of fucked up, kind of weird. All right. Anything else on that? I didn't want to pivot real quick since we're running out of time.
All right, go ahead and pivot.
All right, cool. So someone mentioned I don't even know what Chris brought up Stephen Miller for. I don't even remember why, but I don't know if you saw that clip.
He's saying who's in charge.
Okay, of Katie Miller, Stephen Miller's wife on Piers Morgan's show. Did you see? Okay, I wanted to point this out, and I want to see if it's just me or if you had the same thought, and I'll show it to all the fine folks out there too.
It's very normal for a Miller to be completely and utterly lying.
Quite frankly, I'm really sick and tired of this racist, bigoted rhetoric that comes from people like you against my husband, against my family, and my children. I am raising Jewish children in this country.
Who brought your children into this? What a weirdo.
Piers, I'm going to be done with this if you're going to allow racist and bigoted attacks against one of your commentators just for the sake that he will not
hang on.
speaking.
Casey, to be clear, Casey, to be clear,
He inserted a line that says the Miller's lie. Is that not coded language for therefore we are Jewish? Come on, Pierce. Where are you?
What?
Where are you standing?
God, you're so
Casey,
pathetic.
if I can speak,
everything's your
if I
shield
can
is
speak, listen.
anti-Semite. I'm canceled America. Oh my God, Israel's feelings have been hurt. Why don't you work for this country?
Can we try and get
this country?
Yeah, you are a guest on my show, and I appreciate you coming on the show, and I like you coming on the show.
And I'm saying the two other guests on your show are welcome to participate in these anti-Semitic attacks that is so permeating on CNN and MSNBC.
This is so ridiculous. I'm sorry. I have to jump in here. Somebody criticizing you personally is not an anti-Semitic attack. If somebody says that you are lying, that is not an attack on Jews. That is an attack on you. And just stop hiding behind identity. This is all the snowflake behavior that the right is supposedly criticizing the left for, that you're simply repeating here. Yes, Stephen Miller is a destructive force in American society. That is not an attack on Jews. That is no reference to his identity. This is an attack on him individually, and just deal with it merits.
Okay, so what I wanted to play that clip and ask you, John. When I saw it, first up, hilarious that Republicans love, resorting to the coward's last refuge of, actually, you're the real racist. They love trying to play that card. But the way she talks and moves like Stephen Miller. Did you notice that?
Ooh, that's not where I was going, but I like the angle.
She does. Like when she talks, her lips like this, and she's moving like this, and it's got a lot of this. I don't know a lot of people talk like this, like the over enunciation. It's like, wow, that's exactly how Stephen Miller talks. Every time I can't unsee it ever since I thought it the first time. But yeah, what were you thinking?
I was just thinking she sounds and looks, her mannerisms, her tone of voice, her cadence, fucking Karen all the fucking way.
Karen.
that is like the stereotypical Karen response that you typically think of from a liberal. Like you typically, like if you were to close your eyes and ears and you had no idea who these people were and were just like, hey, what political party do you think that woman is from?
Yeah.
I would have guessed Democrat. I would have been wrong. That is the thing that immediately stood out to me. Also, just how the rest of the head was like, bro.
Yeah, mystified. Yeah,
that's the word in a arena where anti-Semitism has been used to shield against things that obviously weren't anti-Semitism. This is like a bridge way too fucking far. I am Jewish, and you called me a liar. Therefore, you are anti-Semitic is brilliant. I gotta give it to whatever her name is,
Katie.
Miller here, Katie Miller. Fucking wonderful. I really hope Elon Musk taught you that one in bed.
I was gonna say that she seemed kind of surprised Piers Morgan didn't take her side. Did you notice that? Like I feel like she thought
she believes it. Like that was not her acting. I want to be very clear and obvious. That was not her acting. She was not lying. She actually thought that Cenk was being anti-Semitic and attacking her family and her children because they were Jewish. She, in her heart of hearts, she stands it. That's what Stephen Miller has taught her. It's not a lie if you believe it. That is something that, like, fucking what's his name? Not Bernie Sanders. Larry David. Larry David has never been more right about anything. That is, people genuinely will not treat you like you are lying if you genuinely believe it. Because I don't know, it just fools people, and it probably works for her most of the time in her life.
And she's just incredibly obnoxious too. So one more clip, John, before we leave. I'm very sorry, but I wanted to ask your opinion on this as well. This is job market news. It ain't good, folks. It ain't good. It's worse than I even thought. And I saw this right before the show. I wanted to play it.
Health of the job market. Steve Leisman joins us with the latest numbers from Challenger on job cuts. What's going on?
Yeah, well, this is like a clue from like a cough or a sneeze or whatever, but announced corporate job cuts, Andrew, in the U.S. surging past 1 million so far this year, with 153,000 new layoffs announced just in October, according to Challenger. That is the worst October since 2003. Here are the numbers. October up 153. That compares with September. That's 100,000 more than September. And
look at those fucking numbers, John. Look at that. I'm surprised to see a number that big, but I guess I'm not knocked over because I feel like the last week or two, I kept seeing companies announce Amazon laying off 20,000 people, UPS laying off 10,000 people. Every time I turned around, there were thousands of people being laid off. And then I saw it's like, whoa, if you in a vacuum, I wouldn't know if 150,000 layoffs is a lot. Sounds like a lot. But then when you show it compared to other months, oh yeah, we had 24 this month. We had 50 that month. And now it's 150. And once again, with airline travel collapsing, with SNAP not going out, with the holidays coming up, this is like perfect storm shit going on. Like I would be terrified if I was a Republican, especially right now. They're like, this is only going to get worse.
You're TJ. As much as we're sitting here, like, yeah, it was a perfect storm. It's like, who could have seen this coming? We know.
Yeah, exactly.
I could have told you this was happening several months, like from January. It's just like, this is what all of the experts said would happen if Donald Trump's policies were enacted, and that's exactly what's happening here. I'm telling you, TJ. I talk to a lot of finance bro Republicans, like just in professional life. They are all turning on Trump. Like they are, for some reason, I know they're smart enough to have known these policies would do exactly this, but now that it's real, now that it's like on the fucking affecting the bottom line, they are turning on him like rabid dogs. They are very mad at him because this is real. This is real. We are headed towards a complete economic catastrophe because not only is this happening, but a lot of the stock market, TJ, I don't know if you follow this too closely, but like we are in a little bit of a bubble right now with AI. The AI bubble is significantly larger than the bubble ever was. That's going to pop because there's a lot of pressure. And when it does, the stocks are going to fall and it's going to create a fucking domino effect. And you're right, TJ, probably all around the holidays. And if the government shutdown continues, you're just adding pressure. Like this is just like if you were trying to explode the economy, you'd be doing exactly what Trump is doing right now. And he doesn't understand that. But like, yeah, I would be terrified if I were a Republican. I'd be terrified if I was most people right now, but I'm terrified myself as just like this could get seriously, really, really, it's already bad. The worst October since 2003, TJ, that's worse than 2020. That's worse than 2008. It's worse than 2007. Like, it's bad. And
it is.
It's like when you've drank too much, start feeling it, and you realize that you just had 3 shots that haven't hit you yet, and you're just waiting for it. Like, that's how this is right now. We've already ingested the poison, and arguably we could still get it pumped out of our stomach, but we know that's not going to happen. So we're just waiting for the clusterfuck to really fuck us over. And it's going to be bad, TJ. You're right. It's going to get really, really bad. It's going to be really bad for Republicans because no one is buying the bullshit.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, John. I don't know. It's going to be a dark time up ahead. I don't know. I just like to see what the plan is, or I'd like to know what the plan is, because Trump's like, oh, it's going to be a goal. He's out there saying it's going to be a golden age, and there's no plan at all. It's congratulations, America. This is exactly what you voted for. So yeah, you get what you ask. So all right, how about we close this bad boy out, John?
Thank you for watching. Make sure to drop a comment letting us know how much longer you think the American Republic will stand, because right now it's not looking too hot. Definitely like this video and subscribe to us, and make sure that you're here every Tuesday and Thursday at 6:35 EST for our live shows, because honestly, that's what we do this shit for at this point. TJ, what do you got to close us out with?
Well, folks, thanks so much for watching the show. We really appreciate it. Today's episode is brought to you by the Islamic Caliphate, coming to a city near you. First, we got Europe. Well, first we got the Middle East, then we got Europe, now New York, and the rest of the country is yet to come. We'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.